2.3 asks you to demonstrate an understanding of representation in the media. But in order to do that, we need to figure out what representation actually is. Rather than stumbling for a definition, one of the best ways to do this is to look through history at a really good example. What we're going to do is have a look at Belgian surrealist René Magritte's 1929 painting, The Treachery of Images. The script at the bottom reads, "Ceci n'est pas un pipe," which translates as, "This is not a pipe." What Magritte is saying is that this is not a real pipe. It's only a representation of a pipe. You cannot smoke it, you cannot throw it across the room. For the purpose of our study, try and apply this to everything that you see in the media. Is that a real detective on CSI? No. Is that a Pacific Island father on Brotown? No. Is that a horde of women dancing suggestively around a pool? No. It's a representation. It's not real. The story gets interesting when we look at how whole groups have been represented and why they've been represented that way. Let's examine a big blockbuster action film released over 10 years ago. Released in 2002 and directed by Ridley Scott, Black Hawk Down is based on actual events that occurred in Mogadishu in Somalia in 1993. Although we won't look at it here, a lot of what the film depicts is actually disputed. For the sake of this project though, we're just going to zone in on the representation of the two sides in the conflict. In order to do that, the best place to start is film language, because that goes a long way in depicting how an audience sees good and evil. Take a look at the Americans. They are constantly given close-ups designed to highlight their humanity, and the privilege of these shots ensures that viewers care about them. Add to this some stirring music, and the audience has been engineered to side with the American soldiers.
Let me go, sword! You got some ammo! Look that sword! Hop in!
Now compare this to the representation of the Somalis. Notice they appear most frequently in long shots. Unlike the Americans, they are not given the dignity of characterization. No music or slow motion is added to make their deaths feel meaningful or important. They die in droves, but because the film language has not dictated it, the audience doesn't feel like it matters all that much. On the whole, we know that life is short and death is irreversible. But here, through representation, American lives are given value and Somali lives are not. Instead, we see the Somalis as bad guys, a faceless, crazed black horde that might as well be interchangeable for the infected in 28 days later. This raises some questions, the first of which is, why have they been represented this way? And for that, there are a lot of different answers. We'll go into that next time, because I need to go home now. But in order to get to merit or excellence, you have to take an in-depth and critical look at the representation, and that involves examining why the representation is being created. In this case, that'll take us to the post-September 11 fervor for pro-war films in America. It will also look at Hollywood's desire to make an easily digestible film where everybody knows who's good and who's bad. But like I said, for next time.